YouTube, what is going on? Theo here. So today we'll be going through and doing our breakdown of the state of play for Final Fantasy 16 that we got just this last week. So as before my last video, I did kind of go through with some commentary doing it live. I'm going to be focusing more so on the action-packed parts, going into more details. Some of the stuff that Koji Fox kind of narrates, I'm not going to be spending too much time on. I will kind of elaborate in some parts, some insight, things like that. Without further ado, let's get started. Let's fast forward. Oh, or it could just restart.
You all know the target. Shiva's dominant. And only the dominant. Focus, Wyvern. You are key to this mission's success.
So that first part we've already seen from a previous trailer, but this little added part here, we're being called Wyvern. We do know from background and from lore that Clive does pretty much get sold to become a slave. I'm assuming that's kind of what this is. He is probably used for fights. He's part of this infantry group where, for whatever reason, we're on this assassination mission to kill Shiva's dominant. I'm not sure if Clive knows who that is, considering it's Jill. It's his longtime friend. But we will see when the time comes. He might know that already. He might not when we're going through this here.
Yes, Sergeant. I said focus, Wyvern.
Also, he's being called Wyvern, right? I think that's an interesting little detail. Anyways, part of me wonders if his codename is Wyvern is because he is a dominant. I'm curious if that has some sort of reason as to why he's being called that. I doubt that's just a name for anybody in his position. We'll see, though.
Home sweet home.
Here we see Sid. Different scene.
Allow me to welcome you to the world of Final Fantasy XVI.
All right, let's move around here.
In the series, there's absolutely no need to have played any of the
Home sweet home.
Let's go over the gameplay that we have here.
Allow me to welcome you to the world of Final Fantasy XVI.
Here we have the hideaway.
Final Fantasy XVI is the latest installment in the Final Fantasy series,
Phoenix
a storied
abilities.
franchise with 35 years of history. Yet while this is the 16th mainline title in the series, there's absolutely no need to have played any of the previous games
Young
before
Clive.
jumping in. With a fusion of real-time action and RPG.
So here we now get confirmation that we will be able to play as Joshua. I'm assuming this is a flashback. They do kind of talk about this here in a minute, I believe, as well. It sounds like we will most likely be starting our playthrough as 20-year-old Clive, and then we're going to be having some flashbacks to teenage Clive and the incidents that happened with him and Joshua. And I'm assuming this is going to be one of those flashbacks here where we see where everything went wrong here.
Features. Final Fantasy XVI has been developed as the first true action RPG in the series.
I don't know about it being the first true action RPG. I would say 15 was an action RPG. There's no reason it wasn't, but anyways.
Using the power of the PlayStation 5 to its fullest, the game delivers an expansive, thrilling gameplay experience.
So we've already seen some gameplay before the last trailer that we had of Phoenix fighting with Ifrit. And this area is different though. From before, it was like this long tunnel-like cave we are flying through. Here, this looks like some sort of area that was designed by the ancient. All these massive pillars here. So where this exactly is, I'm not sure. But interesting little change in detail there.
High-speed roller coaster ride.
Alright, Rita. Here we get more gameplay of Clive versus Hugo, both in their human forms. So this is a cut to a scene where we had before where Sid is talking to Clive as Ifrit. For whatever reason, he's like enraged and he's not kind of calming down. For whatever reason, Clive can't control Ifrit completely at whatever point that this takes place in. So Ramu decides to just judgment bowl his ass to get him to calm down. Shiva. Versus Titan. Turning into Titan Zero. Titan lost, sorry. Okay.
Rosaria, as it unfolds across 3 distinct periods in our hero's life: his teens, 20s, and 30s.
So this, assuming, right, the only thing I can think of that can huck a boulder that large at us would be Titan.
Distinct periods in our hero's life: his teens, 20s, and
So for whatever reason, during this assassination mission, we get caught, and Hugo, aka Titan, is trying to put an end to this.
30s.
And he is dead. Then Clive is knocked out, most
While the
likely.
story begins with Clive in his 20s, a fully playable flashback will allow you to experience the pivotal events that shaped his past and present.
So I do want to go back here.
Experience the pivotal. While the story begins with Clive in his 20s,
So there it is. Koji confirms that we do start in his 20s, and it's most likely when we go to this teenage years, like we're about to see here, it's going to take place through flashbacks. This is probably the start of it here.
Flashback.
Whether this could be the transition we saw where the boulder knocks him out, we have this flashback here.
Will allow you to experience the pivotal events
This remains to
that
be seen.
shaped his past and present. And thus does the curtain open on this newest Final Fantasy adventure.
Clive,
So confirmation, right? They're trying to assassinate Joshua. He turns into Phoenix. We see Ifrit. That is a squealing bird. He is most likely killing Phoenix or Joshua. And then boom, menus. All right, let's slow this down. All right, so we have purple gear, and we have 3 of the equipment attached. The timely equipment, which I will not personally be using. This tells us also our party member at this time. We are in the hideaway at this moment and are currently equipped abilities for only Phoenix and Garuda. So I'm assuming at this point in time, and this early in the game, we only have 2 iconic abilities that we can use. Let's go back really fast. Nope. Okay. So again, this gear here, we have what looks like our physical and magic attacks. I'm curious if later on in the game we will have abilities that will, or different equipment that'll kind of change this. And then we have what I believe is our defensive stat and our health stat. Abilities. Then we have the system menu again.
Navigation in Final Fantasy XVI is driven.
So here is the hideaway. Now it is hard to tell where exactly this is. But we see these stones here. So this actually, I could be mistaken. This could be the main continent here. So I want to go back to the map. So we have these distinguishing areas here. The mother crystals, right? Okay, so this is in fact the main area here. So this is the world map. So, okay, so it's not as big as I thought. But we can see here the circular one, this long pillar one, and this tower-like one coming back all the way here. Right, so we see the pillar, which weird, zoom back out.
Navigation in Final Fantasy XVI is driven.
There we go. So zoomed out here. This looks like that pillar, the circular one. So this is in fact the main continent here, and the hideaway is located almost dead center here of the continent that we'll be spending most of our time on.
Via a world map, with locations being added and updated as players progress through the main narrative.
So we have these fast travel points, it appears, right? These little icons tell us where our side quests are, and this symbol is going to be where we could go for our main quest. Part of me wonders how these areas will be split up. I'm assuming that's what these little sections mean, possibly. Or it's just mean that we're locked out from certain areas. But how large it's actually going to be exploring, right? So if we were to fast travel between these 2 points, how long would it take us to travel on foot? I'm curious to see that. We might get that here in the near future, but for the time being, I don't think we have anything like that to go off of.
The world map can be opened at any time.
And then here, like I said, that little green mark, it tells us our nearby quests at each of these sections, which is very nice.
Allowing players access to all manner of locations across Valisthea.
Loading screen's pretty fast. Never mind, it's not
Here,
directly
players
in.
will meet new friends.
We see we have Jill with us. He's using materia, it looks like, on this pot of fish.
Here, players will meet new friends. And
Is he supposed to be seasoning it? Is that what he's supposed to be doing? Or imbuing it with magic to give it taste, maybe? I'm curious. And we see all the other fish here in the stall. Interesting little tidbit there as to how things might interact and work here in the world of Valisthea.
here, players will meet new friends, encounter formidable foes, and uncover great and wondrous mysteries.
Here we see our gigantic mural, but it is destroyed, right? So we've seen what they've shown us, right? Let me pull this up here. All right. So I know I've talked about this mural, right? It looks like we have a bunch of the different icons with the halos around them. Shiva, Garuda, I think this is Typhon. It is very hard to tell. Leviathan, who we have not seen yet. Bahamut, Odin, Titan, and I don't think there's anybody else there. And then here's the main two, right? This is the only part we see is from this part up. And I believe this is supposed to be Ifrit and Phoenix. Still not sure on that one. Don't quote me on that. More puppers. We see a ship here. Again, the ancient architecture here on top of a wooden ship. Almost like this was attached onto it. Interesting little detail. Red flags could be a Rosarian ship. Maybe it could be another one. There was another country that had red in their logo, their emblem, their banner. I'm gonna assume it's the latter, or the more. Sorry, I'm gonna assume it's not Rosaria. It's a different continent or country. Steam powered. I know I briefly mentioned this before, but this gives me Final Fantasy IX vibes with the steam. Interesting little thing here. That could be why we see that. I want to see if this is the same ship. It looks like it is. So it doesn't just rely specifically on wind for travel. That could be why this is attached to it for to help it sail. You see another massive ship with these purple, blue like sails. Nothing really on them though. And okay, here's the stuff we've been looking for.
I'd like to talk about the combat
Jump,
of Final Fantasy VI.
arrow, combo. So I'm looking through, right? So we can actually see what the inputs are. Just by watching down here in the corner, you can actually see the buttons will kind of shrink down as they're touched and input.
Next,
For our square, triangle, our circle, and our X for the PlayStation.
I'd like to talk about the combat of Final Fantasy XVI.
I think one thing it's interesting to note is that one side note actually here really quick. Here we're level 19, but we have Rama's abilities. I'm not sure if these are just going to be unlocked just based off of when we unlock them by spending our experience points on them, or whether it's going to be unlocked just by going through the story. I'm going to assume it's that one, but we will see on that. But at no point have we ever seen what the limit break looks like for Clive. I'm really curious to see that. We'll kind of go through that, see if we do maybe get something. Um, and I do notice that here we have 2 bars max. At one point we've seen 4 bars total, pretty much expanding all of the HP bar. So I'm assuming over time that will kind of get to another level of limit break. And if you're familiar with Final Fantasy 14, right, our limit break kind of works in this exact same way. We have our level 1, our level 2, and in 14, the max is our level 3. So I'm assuming different levels will mean different moves that'll be even stronger.
All the battles in the game take place in real time and are not turn-based.
And then we also notice here again fallen enemies. So for an extinct empire, for whatever reason, these robotic-like creatures are still around, and they're not very friendly to us for whatever reason.
As Clive progresses through the story, he will learn.
And then here we see, what move is this? Blind Justice?
As Clive progresses,
Blind Justice. It looks like we're holding it down, and as we hold it down, we have these different targets we lock onto.
he will
And then we unleash it,
learn a wide array of
and we have Ramu's staff. As you spin and we send out bolts of lightning.
exciting abilities from the icons that he encounters.
So here we have a Titanic block.
From the icons that he encounters. Now, let's take.
So I think it's interesting to note here that he does actually mess up the combo. So we release it before we get to that red bar.
Now, let's take
Collateral Upheaval, ability finish.
a moment to admire Clive
And then we do wind up, and then this time we get it, and then we get the animation for it.
action.
And it almost looks like this is going to be really hard to tell. We send him absolutely flying, but before it gets cut off. And this hits way harder by hitting that properly executed as well. Now we have... Okay, now we have R. I see this
From
as
the
well.
icons that he encounters. Now, let's take
So it looks like different iconic abilities interact differently. So a Titan has these charge bars to get stronger when we release it in the right times.
a moment to
And we'll see this a little bit
admire
later on
Clive
as
in
well here
action.
in a second. Here we seem to have this charge bar with Odin for Zantetsuken. We'll see Zantetsuken again here a little bit later on. This looks so sick. This is super Devil May Cry vibes here. And as we see, we keep hitting enemies. This charge bar continually goes up. And then it looks like whatever we're using here, it is using our Zantetsuken charge here. So let's see. That was a dodge into like a counter. Gold snap. So gold snap might let us dodge, and then it does a massive AoE freeze, which sounds insanely OP. Again, level 19. Don't know, these can always change as well. And then here for Bahamut, we see Dia. If you're not familiar, Dia is a healing spell, so I think that's kind of interesting. Unless it is changed. Oh, I'm sorry. Dia is actually a damage spell, but it's like a holy spell. Interesting. So Bahamut is our pretty much our light, our holy damage that we'll have. That sounds right. So again here for Bahamut, we see this Mega Flare bar. We stagger the Minotaur. We change Stone Gowler, this massive, almost executioner guy, massive axe. Shroud over his face, his head. So what move is this? Let's go back. Go back for that again. So we're spamming Dia here. It looks like after we've used whatever channel this is. Wings of Light, Dia spam. And then we have whatever that was. This goes so quick, so apologies. Mesmerize. Okay, here we see another Ramos ability, and this charges up super fast. So it looks like he presses. So we get this lock on here, and because there's maybe multiple targets, this thing goes from 1 to 9 instantly, damn near. Here again, we see Odin, and here we only see 2 abilities. Again, interesting. So here we're going to see this Zantetsuken charging up. That move looks so OP. Massive AoE move and crowd control. Okay, here we get more Zantetsuken or Sheath. I'm not exactly sure. So this is Zantetsuken here. Let's see, there we saw a fully charged Zantetsuken into this combo. And if you're not familiar, Zantetsuken is Odin's signature ability. When used in summons and other Final Fantasies, a lot of trash mobs, it will in fact one-shot them. Just instantly, no matter how much health you have, they just die. So I think that's interesting to point out here for what's about to happen. I am the storm that is approaching, and then boom. Everybody's health bar is gone. So whether this is a set amount or if this is just how much health they have in total, they're just all dead. And these health bars are pretty much all full. And then they're not. So I do want to see if these are linked to the limit breaks at all. I'm curious. I doubt it, but doesn't look like it is. Mega Flare does so much damage. Holy shit. Giga Flare, it says. But here we see the Mega Flare bar on the side. AoE then with Shiva. And then we see Giga Flare here. And then health bars again just complete. So actually insane. All right, here we see, sorry, that bar again, I forgot, I have gone over this before in a previous video. That other stat is our stagger. Sorry, our attacker's on 1 stat. That is correct, I remember this now. So apologies. from before. That is not a magic damage thing. That is in fact stagger. That's what that means.
The ability.
So let's go back here for a second as well. We see our ability points in our guild. Our ability points which we acquire from defeating enemies, and we get experience here as well. So I'm assuming this is our damage that we'll do. We have defense and vitality. HP, it says right here, hit points are reduced when taking damage. Should the number fall to 0, the game will be over. We have our 3 different iconic ability sets here now as well. And then we can see here also, we still have 2 badges, but then we have an actual accessory, which is actual gear, cobalt tassels, and it is blue rarity. So we do know that there is at least white gear, I think green gear, blue, and purple gear. Whether we'll get some legendaries or like that nice orange color, it seems to be the RPG gear meta that is in most games. We will see. But we know we at least have those rarities for the time being.
The abilities that
Platinum Sword. Platinum makes for a poor blade, being too soft to withstand rigorous use in battle and too expensive for the common soldier to afford. It does, however, allow for ornate designs on crossguard, hilt, and pommel, where the rare metal is most often employed. Interesting. So here we see that blue boxer on that blue gear. And then maybe these are just different accessories. They're not actually part of this because these are not lit up.
Clive wields have unique characteristics depending on the icon they are.
So here we see this is exactly what I wanted to know as well. So to learn this ability costs 100 points, and then it watches as soon as we upgrade that as 1 star in damage, 2 star in stagger.
On the icon they are derived.
Boom, we can now upgrade that for 600 more points. We are currently sitting at 4,000. We have a shit ton. Somebody's been saving. And this looks like Ifrit in the background. So I think it is interesting, right? Out of all of the iconic abilities we've seen, we can use Phoenix. We can use pretty much everybody that we've seen so far. We have not seen Leviathan. We don't think we've seen Typhon abilities either. But we also don't get to use Ifrit's abilities. Whether we unlock those later on in the game, I don't know. Or if that's just part of considered, or if these are just considered part of Clive's general kit. Taunt. Use R2 and the center button to pull the attention of an enemy target. 40 points.
Players can use ability points collected.
Brooding Blade. Half a star, half a star. Hold square to imbue Clive's blade with fire, release to unleash a powerful attack.
By defeating enemies to unlock more abilities.
Drive Ramu's staff into the ground, electrifying all enemies within their radius of the strike. Interesting. And this is upgraded as well. And then we can master it. So we have several levels, right? It looks like there's the base, upgraded, and then master. Interesting to see as well. Also looks like if we don't like our decisions or we want to change up our build a little bit, we can reset them. Whether this cost us anything to do, it does not look like it, but that is actually really nice. Say if we accidentally want to change up our build, focus on different abilities, I think that is a really nice feature. The convenience of being able to change up our build, our abilities, our focus, things like that. So we get more variety in how we play things like that as well. Nice detail. We can also reset all our abilities, and then we have recommended abilities here as well. Let me move actually out of the way so I can show you guys that also. So down below here, we can see, take my thing off the screen. As we go through here, you're going to see that it has our recommended abilities and reset.
Can use ability points collected by defeat.
We can also lock abilities, so if we don't want anything to change to it, we have that down here. Zoom details as well. Whether this is the details, I'm not sure, or maybe this provides even further detail. Who knows?
Defeating enemies to unlock more abilities or upgrade existing ones.
So once we master it, notice the points that it shows is completely gone. So this Garuda ability that we are upgrading gives a ton of stagger, but doesn't hit the most. When a tornado slowly hunts down nearby enemies upon ensnaring them and inflicts multiple hits.
Can't decide which iconic ability to unlock or upgrade? No.
And then I think he just did the recommended. Let's see what that says really fast.
Can't decide which iconic ability
Acquiring
to unlock or upgrade?
1,275 ability points used to acquire 12 new abilities. So I'm assuming that is the auto
No problem.
recommended
You
abilities.
can let the game choose for you.
Which is the meme, is the journalist mode, right? Down thrust, press X and square while in the air to slice downward. Oops.
The game choose for you.
And then of
Final
course
Fantasy 16 includes a range
we don't have any more ability points after doing that. So this tells us too here. So these are just different accessories, not the badges of whatever, or the amulets, whatever it's called. The things that make the game easier, and it tells us what these buffs do as well.
of timely accessories
The timely accessories, there it is.
to provide support to those players who may not be
Then it's showing us too, as we equip these, we're going to lose these stats of what we have already equipped.
so
yeah.
skilled at action games, bringing them a truly enjoyable experience.
I know I said this before as well, but I think it is really surprising how much they are driving this home. Like, they will not stop talking about the timely accessories. Like, they keep bringing it up, like it's there. And I think that's just their way of trying to market to a newer audience, not to the old school Final Fantasy RPG audience. They're really trying to bring in new players to kind of help grow the Final Fantasy fandom. At least that's kind of how it feels.
Players are encouraged to equip Clive with different combinations of these accessories until they find the one that perfectly matches their own playstyle. A combination I can particularly recommend to those who may struggle with action games.
Then here we have the timely
Is the ring-
accessories. So we're going to skip through this. We don't care about the timely accessories. Here we have our first shot. Cool. Here we have our sneak
And for
peek
those who want to
of the main menu. So we have, of course, load game, new game, and then configure, which is our menus, right? Change our settings.
concentrate on the story, don't forget to choose Story Focus Mode before starting a new game.
We're not doing that. I'm not doing that.
In this mode, timely accessories are automatically equipped from the start, allowing players to immerse themselves in the narrative experience without having to worry too much with the action.
Here we
Clive
are.
will meet many characters along his journey who will join him as friends and allies.
This place. These are fallen ruins.
So here we have Jill. Jill does not look like she's in the best shape. This looks like this is our first time arriving here at the hideout.
Well, we didn't think they'd mind. And it keeps the black from our lungs.
But how do you survive without magic?
Sidolphus, who becomes a mentor to Clive. Jill,
True then.
a friend from Clive's youth.
It really is.
Such
you.
encounters and reunions will set
Yeah, so this looks like this is their first time seeing each other, and who knows how long. It could be since, the Teenage Clive, Teenage Jill era.
Clive on a path of great personal growth.
It is.
Clive!
Some of these companions will even accompany Clive on his adventures, fighting alongside him and finding lots to talk about along the way. That said, players will only need to focus on controlling Clive. Party members are fully AI-driven, providing support for the hero and constantly adapting and responding to his actions.
Cutscene. Sid. So this looks like this little part here is inside. Let's actually look at this too.
That said, players will only need to focus on
So I can't tell where this
controlling
is. This
party
is
members
turning
are
into
fully AI
armor?
driven, providing support for the
And then it just shows him using an
hero and
ability.
constantly adapting and responding to his actions.
This looks very early on in the game. Here we are inside the giant crystal, which we fight the dragon most likely. This looks like it is inside that area. We have our K Kona War Panther here. He is staggered, just showcasing Jill Torval. Jill uses a rapier, it's pretty cool. Shiva looks really good.
Oh, and we cannot forget Tor.
To be fair, so far, all the icons look extremely good. They did a fantastic job with designing all of them. So, the best boy.
A smart, strong, and fiercely loyal.
So we take damage, and then he looks like he automatically heals us. Let's see if this...
A smart,
Oh my
strong,
god, that did so much damage. Watch our health bar. That did a massive chunk. It's like a fourth or a fifth of our health.
a smart, strong, and fiercely loyal hound. Torval is always by Clive's side and willing to stand by him in the face of whatever cruel fate may befall them. Torval will act of his own accord, but players can also give him direct commands. Just don't forget to give this good boy some treats every now and then.
Of course.
Goots, get her upstairs.
But none will...
Don't fret about
What's his name?
Goots.
Goot.
Get her upstairs.
But none will...
Let's actually do this. Goot is how it sounds like it's pronounced. This is back to the hideaway when we arrive, and Jill is not in a good condition.
none will...
Don't fret about Karen. I've taken care of her fee.
All of it?
She's the best healer this side of the belt. You've nothing to worry about. Go on, have a look around. I'll be in my solo.
So I wonder if on our mission to assassinate Shiva's dominant, we run into her. That doesn't happen. We join up with Sid. We end up rescuing her, and then we end up at the hideout.
After progressing somewhat through the game, Clive will gain access to Sid's hideaway.
The hideaway. Okay, it is the hideaway.
Here in the hideaway,
We've already kind of seen this, so I'm going to skip through this part. We'll kind of go through this here. We've already seen these. Consumables look like they are at set values, which is nice as well. We can forge stuff. We can upgrade stuff, which is nice as well. Broadsword level 1. Broadsword level 2. Tells us the materials, so we can farm those. Got those little bit of RPG elements there. The Arete stone, we've seen this, how this works before.
players
Here we
can
get an
enter a
actual
virtual
idea.
training area outside the
So this is actually so nice. The fact that this is like our combat sim is like essentially a practice room. This looks like it's a bit upgraded from Devil May Cry 5. That there's all these different things that we can turn on and off. So if we don't want to worry about taking damage, just practice combos. We can put even more stuff we want to simulate certain scenarios. We have so much variety in that, which is really, really, really cool. I love this, right? So if you turn on Torgal, we can do auto Torgal, sick timing, things like that. This is so sick. The log, input display, so we can see everything that we're doing to really like practice and get good at the combat. This is actually just such a nice little feature that they added in. Especially with how it looks like with the combat, thinking of like, Devil May Cry 5. it's pretty easy to pick up, but it's hard to master, right? So if we really want to get nitty gritty and working on like really refining that, how good we are at the combat using abilities, combos, we can practice that as much as we want here.
The bounds of time and space, where they are free to refine and practice combos of their very own. Once you're confident in your skills,
Even the different enemies, you can practice on different enemies as well. I'm wondering if we can practice on different bosses, maybe. I'm curious if we want to practice boss fights as well. That'd be really cool. And this tells us right the size of the enemy as well as if they're melee or ranged enemies. So cool.
confident in your skills, try your hand at arcade mode and see how your scores stack up against players from around the world.
So I think this is actually really nice pointing out. So as we're going through here, we have
Your hand
first
at
timing.
arcade mode
As we can see the inputs, we can see their
and
battle
see how your
performance.
scores.
I know one of the big concerns, and this has been something I've been concerned about as well, is the time to kill. Enemies in general look like they have a ton of health, but from what I'm seeing here, this thing dies pretty quick, and it's the same level as us.
Stack up against players from around the world.
So that is really nice to see.
The hideaway is home to a lot of other features as well.
Right, so that's really nice to see in regards to how long certain battles will take us. It's still a little, I want to see a little bit more because it does feel like, enemies in general are a little bit meat shieldy. I don't know, going off of this is kind of beta. They're only using certain skills, certain items. This is more so to be a showcase. So it might not be as bad as it appears at times. So it's just one thing to kind of keep in mind here going forward. In regards to how long it'll take us to go through fights and time to kill, etc. etc.
Not only will players discover a variety
So nice little feature. I know we saw this before. If characters in the background have dialogue, we see this here. We have the different things on our HUD, shows us where side quests are, so we don't have to walk around aimlessly just trying to talk to people and see if they have a quest for us. Thank God.
Not only will players discover a variety of side quests here, but they can also view information on quests offered all around Valisthea.
So this even tells us, this Alliance reports tells us where all the quests are. And we can fast travel to specific quests that we want to do. This is so nice. My favorite thing about this entire state of play is all the showcasing of the convenience of the different things that have been put into the game, such as this, the clarity in like how it is for our training mode, right? When we're battling things like that, all the different situations that we can simulate with all the different settings that are given to us, as well as here, right? If we ever want to go do side quests, we can find out where exactly they're at. We can go straight to them. These things are so nice that it gets rid of all that unneeded time exploring or that unneeded time traveling, walking around, things like that. So we're more efficient with our time when we're playing, which is very, very nice.
All right, Clive. Still busy saving the world?
Mid.
Her name's Mid.
When did you get back?
Just kind of a mean name, implying that she is in fact Mid. We have Koopos, Moogles.
Oh, I wasn't expecting you back so soon.
So here we can get hints to where things are at in regards to renown that we collect. We spend that renown and it tells us respect. Our orders once built on pride. Where thanks is due. We may have failed Martha once, but never again. and it tells us this crate content, so what we can get out of it. How, let me see if we'll get more details on this. Let's go back. What was that
That's
material?
us soon.
A berserker ring. Okay, I want that. That's purple gear. We want that. This donation will be available upon achieving a renown rating of 85. So it looks like we just collect these, and as we collect them, we can unlock this gear. Okay, so we just accept the donations. Okay, got it. So since we're at 60, we need approximately 25 more to unlock this. Interesting. And then that says, too far back. So it looks like we redeemed this one here. We're going to get all this different gear, which is really cool. So yeah, we just redeem it. This is not a currency. This just helps us unlock these. And then once we have enough, we can actually just obtain it. Boom. Tells us everything that we just got. That's super cool.
Visit the hunt board to gain information on elite marks, fearsome foes lurking about the realm in
So again, so it looks like this is how we get renown from doing these hunt marks. Here, it looks like we get some gil as well as renown. If you're familiar with 14, right, there is a hunt board. We can hunt these for different things that we can collect in the game. Looks like this has been implemented here into 16, which is really cool. I like this idea. Again, more side quest stuff to do for those completionists out there, such as myself, that really like to do everything that is available to them. And here we can see some of these different enemies. Some sort of dragon, a minotaur, it looks like a fallen enemy, some sort of cat, and then a assassin-like enemy here.
desperate need of slaying. The move.
In some of these, it's not showing us what they look like, which is actually kind of cool too. I don't
Some
mind that.
foes lurking about the realm in desperate need of slaying.
Mighty murder. Rumor is spreading throughout the southern reaches of Rosaria of a pool of opalescent ooze that has been sighted in the moors and meadows of the region. While it resembles naught but a puddle of strange sludge from a distance, any man or beast that draws too close is met with masses of slimy hands and drag their prey into a gaping, grimming maw. Is that what we want for our children? I wonder if this is a flan. It kind of what it sounds like. Just based off that description. It tells us where exactly it's at.
Some
So
foes lurking about the realm
this is in
in
Rosaria.
desperate need of slaying.
Rosaria.
The Moogle will
The Breaker of Worlds. Urgent notice to all curse breakers. Due to discovery of fallen giant in the Rosarian ruins we have lately been investigating, all work in the region is to be halted with immediate effect, and all members are to proceed no further than the village gate. Lest the echoes should be awakened by our presence, no further action may be taken without Sid's express permission. Interesting. And it's not showing us, but this is an S. It gives us a lot of stuff. Whether this will be the way they introduce super bosses in the game, something like the Adamantoise, the giant Adamantoise, something like that. I would not be opposed to that. That'd be really cool to see and have here in the game. Oh, hold on. Okay, there we go.
be your guide.
So this looks like it's just splitting up the continents. We get this cool animation when we find our bounty down, tells us what we get.
There's also Loresman Harpocrates, who will unlock Valisthea's secrets as Clive recounts tales of his adventures.
I have
Do-do-do.
quite the find for you today.
So this looks like it is going to be a bunch of lore details. Hold on one second. Okay. Hopefully that doesn't mess with my settings, but we'll see.
You wish to study the tomes?
So here we can really explore different lore. We have progress bars here. What these give us in rewards or purpose, we'll see. Learn about different kingdoms. The Battle of Belenus Tor. So this is a cinematic we saw. It looks like this is Bahamut versus Odin. Here we can see the different dominants we've probably encountered. They have said already before that our fight with Garuda is fairly early on in the game. So we know about Ifrit from the beginning cinematics, things like that, Garuda, and then of course we'll know about Ramu just because Sid being with us. So this is Mysteries of the Realm. And I'm assuming this means we haven't interacted with them yet. Crystal, one of the most valuable materials known to mankind, its ability to channel ambient aether from the air, allowing those without an innate power to do so to cast magics. As most Palestinians cannot live without magic, its supply and distribution is heavily regulated by governments across the Twins. A given shard can only channel a certain amount of aether before it shatters, so the need for new crystals is incessant. That makes sense. So whatever you saw that kid holding the crystal, he was using it to do something to the food.
Here for another of my lectures.
And Vivian Ninetails,
What is it that you
a
wish to
scholar and
learn?
strategist.
Okay, so here's more lore. So for this, apparently there might be some brief spoilers. So just be warned based off of what I've seen online. So let's see. Rosaria marches with the blight press at Rosaria's borders, enforcing. This looks like a timeline as well. So over the course of time, we can see the different characters, the Archduke, the Duchess, right? This is Clive and Joshua's parents, Ordo Rosaria, young Jill, the puppy, young Torgal. So this is pretty cool to see, and it lets us know their ties as well. Very interesting indeed. Anyways, the blight press at Rosaria's borders, enforcing ever more citizens of the duchy from their homes. Archduke Elwin rallies his nation to take up arms against the Iron Kingdom and wrest Drake's breath from their grasp. Yet tradition dictates that they must first march north to Phoenix State to perform the rite of ancestral communion.
Who will be
Here's the
more
latest
than happy to
information I have.
explain to Clive
So here,
the current state of the realm.
so Jill, young Jill, born a princess of the Northern Territories, Jill was made a ward of Rosaria after her homeland's incessant raids were quelled by the duchy. She was raised in Rosalith Castle alongside Clive and Joshua, who came to love her as a sister. So she is not Clive's love interest, it would appear. She is in the friend zone, apparently.
And provide
Good to know.
information on key players.
Okay, and then here as we shift, I'm assuming it's going to shift down at the bottom.
Clive, the current state of the realm.
Yep.
And provide information.
So it looks like there's different tabs here too. So I'm assuming as we go through the different times as well,
Happy to explain to Clive the current state of the realm
we can go through these also.
and provide information on key players.
So the Night of Flames, this is going to be the event. Believe the Dead. Okay. Deceased, former Duchess. We kind of already know this just from what we've seen. The mysterious stranger, acting in concert with the treacherous Duchess Annabella. Imperial forces attack Phoenix Gate. From the chaos arise two icons of fire. The fateful battle between them, reducing all to ash. So it appears that their father, whether this is their actual birth mother, the Duchess, she betrays them. It looks like they are, because this is, our mom is not the nicest person. She betrays Rosaria for whatever reason. Yeah. So that is actually rather sad.
There are
And then we have, see, okay, so this is based off the timeline. We've gone over 2 notches. The Battle of Nisa. Dominant of Shiva and Clive's childhood friend. The depths of the Nisa defile. The two came to blows at the orders of the armies that enslaved them. Jill fighting to defend the priests of the Iron Kingdom. Clive obeying the Empire's orders to take the head of Shiva's dominant. Exhausted from her tilt with Titan, Jill came close to falling to her assassin's blades, but was spared the last moment when Clive's memories of their long time together came flooding back.
All kinds of
And then we can see their icon. So that'll probably give us more information in regards to Shiva. Really quick.
interactions and features
And then here we go back again.
in the hideaway to help players.
Whoa, 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 what is this?
Interactions and features in the hideaway.
Knight of Flames, taken captive by the Empire, Clive does all in his power to save his brother and father from the Imperial infiltrators. But alas, it is not enough. The Phoenix awakens and runs rampant, and in the ensuing maelstrom, Clive blacks out. He's found in the rubble the next morning and enslaved by the Imperial army on his mother's orders. Damn. That's so shitty. Acting in concert with the treacherous Imperial forces attack Phoenix Gate from... Yeah, okay. Seen this before.
Way to help players get.
So I think this tells us teenage Clive, 20-year-old Clive, 30-year-old Clive? That's a 5-year gap, so possibly not. Okay, so that is not the case. Something is going to differentiate these. So this is a 13-year gap right here. So this is just based off some sort of event that's taking place for these yellow Year of the Realm. The Iron Kingdom, that's what that's for. Rosaria, Holy Empire of Sombreke. Clive survives the tragedy of Phoenix Gate, only to be forcibly recruited into the Imperial army and spirited away to Sunburg on his mother's orders. He would not return to his homeland again for many a long year.
Even more enjoyment out of their time with.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Players get even more enjoyment out.
Okay. Oh dear, man, I'm getting worried reading with this shit, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, the Iron Kingdom's unholy crusade is on the march once more. This time into the arid wastelands of Dalmekia, where the Republic musters its main host in the depths of the Nisa defile. Alarmed by the size and ferocity of the Iron Blood Horde, the Dalmecs call on the aid of the long-standing ally Wallod. I probably, bear with me, I probably mispronounced that, but bear with me. Wallod, as two sides meet each other in a bloody battle, a small group of Imperial soldiers infiltrates the fray in pursuit of their own target. Clive is dispatched to the Nisa defile as a member of the Bastards, an elite Imperial assassination squadron. So that's what we saw as he's being referred to as Wyvern. Together with his branded brothers in arms, he pursues the Iron Blood army in order to take the head of the dominant Shiva. But all does not proceed as planned, and he is saved from certain death by a stranger named Sid.
Out of their time with Final Fantasy XVI.
Here we see the BFFs. Damn, these areas look so good.
On his travels, Clive will encounter a wide array
And there we find a stinky breath boy.
of fearsome foes.
A Marlboro, just like the cigarette. Night of the Blinding Dawn. So this is the at Phoenix Gate. We have a Fafnir, aka a horny boy. Horny Toad. This part looks so cool. Right on. Holy shit, that did a lot of damage. What's the health bar? So I wonder what other unique animations there are for seeing stuff like this. This is pretty cool though. Here we popped a potion we used. A high potion.
He will, of course, clash with the dominants who wield the power of the
Here we go,
icons.
1v1 versus Hugo. Hugo looks so sick. Different mechanics, you have to dodge. Holy shit.
Colossal beasts who hold the surrounding lands under
Akashic
their
Dragon. This thing's taking a lot more damage.
sway. Mysterious constructs of the fallen.
Control
A
mode.
civilization shrouded in mystery.
RM Giant. Liquid Flame. So Liquid Flame is a boss in Final Fantasy XIV, so it's pretty cool to see it in here. Some more influence from that. The Arm Giant gives me massive Iron Giant vibes as well. I think that's kind of a different rendition of it. The giant sword, massive armor, thing's huge. That's cool to see. So Liquid Flame splitting and turning into different things here as well. I want to point out Clive's sword is almost like a katana, pretty cool looking. Gungnir. So here's us fighting Barnabas. This part looks so sick. Level 37, 4 limit break bars as well. He looks tanky as hell in that armor.
And we cannot forget the icons themselves. Experience unparalleled real-time action combat as Clive takes command of the iconic might
Whether this is at the Phoenix Gate or not, it's really hard to say.
coursing through his veins and shatters his very limits. The shining point of Final Fantasy XVI, however, has to be the breathtaking icon versus icon battles.
Here's Phoenix versus Ifrit again in the tunnel area. Here's this area again, which we saw earlier. Use circle to execute Flames of Rebirth. I'm assuming that either revives us or heals us. Since Phoenix has always been kind of a supporty summon in Final Fantasy. Frame rate going down there.
Epic confrontations all play out in real time.
So I want to see that there.
These
So that just completely heals us to full. That's actually OP.
epic confrontations all play out in real time, allowing players to control their very
Now we
own
get big
icon with
numbers.
their own hands.
Press square. Boom.
These battles differ depending on the icon encountered.
Here we get
and
this
every
scene
showdown
again.
is unique, right down to gameplay. Players will experience everything from a 3D scrolling shooter to a heavyweight wrestling match with
All right,
devastating
versus
attacks that
Bahamut.
encompass the entire battlefield. These massive scale boss battles are entirely seamless,
Interesting to
and
see
I can
this
promise you,
combo.
hearts
So he weaves fireballs in with his attack. So attack, fireball,
These
attack,
massive
fireball,
scale boss
attack,
battles are
fireball.
entirely seamless, and I can promise you heart-stopping, controller-gripping excitement. I can't wait for you to get your hands on the game for yourself.
Hold on. Why was that different? What did that say?
I can't wait for you to get your hands
Burning
and I
jump?
can promise you heart-stopping, controller-gripping excitement.
attack.
Can't wait for you to
Burning
get your hands
Fate.
on the game for yourself.
The spiral uppercut. Titan is so much bigger than us, man. Oh.
Nice trick.
And then this is very significant too. Watch what happens here.
But if you can do it, then so could I.
You've learned Brimstone, so it seems that at least when we're in our form of Ifrit, we have almost like blue mage type abilities where we can learn abilities from other icons, most likely. So I'm assuming, right, that's going to help us as we progress. We'll get stronger being able to just take on these different abilities. And then this is also very interesting to note. Now we have Phoenix versus Bahamut. This is interesting. So I'm assuming we're playing as Joshua most likely when we're having the Phoenix versus the Icon of Fire, aka Ifrit. But why we're getting Phoenix versus Bahamut, I'm not sure. Does that mean that Joshua isn't in fact dead? Does that mean that for whatever reason we could be Phoenix as well? Which I don't think that makes any sense. This is very interesting note here in regards to the storytelling aspect, that this fight is happening between these two, because this tells us something about Phoenix as well. So especially also considering that point we saw earlier, it said presumed dead, not actually deceased. So for whatever reason, we most likely never recovered Joshua's body after the incidents at the Phoenix Gate. Just interesting things to note from that, though, going forward. That's so sick. He said I can do it too. This is so cool. Oh, so this music by Soken's just too good. They're using the same moves at each other. It's pretty cool. Hold on a second. Where was this in the background? Where is this? This looks like the night sky. It looks like something happened to the crystal here. There's energy shooting out from it. That is interesting to note. Anyways, then we have Ifrit versus Typhon again. This is so insane, man. I love how nimble Ifrit is. I know it's just so random, but it's actually really cool. It makes these encounters and these fights like this just so intense. I guess I feel like that it makes it fair versus something this damn big too. Holy damage. What move was that? That was a lot of damage. Daggered? Then here's the finisher. Nope. Sorry. Ifrit versus Odin. Then here's the finisher. he takes this pillar of Titan Loss and just 2.7 million damage, and he's done so. Just completely just splits him in two. So sick. Actually, so sick.
So everyone, what did you think? Thank you for taking the time to join us today. Final Fantasy XVI will be available worldwide June 20th.
So that's pretty much it then.
There's still plenty that we've left to reveal.
So that's pretty much it in regards to the gameplay. It's everything that I wanted to go over today. Some really interesting stuff kind of going through and breaking this down. Especially in regards to how much detail, right? We get some combat information, we got some lore info, as well as just some generally good information regarding the background, the different features, and all the different mechanics that'll be included in the gameplay, such as haunts, things like that, etc., etc. So with that, I hope you guys do like the video. If you can, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, greatly helps me out. But I will see you guys the next one when we get more information here later on this month. When that'll be, I don't know. But as soon as that drops, I'll have a video for you guys right here. So stay tuned for that. But until next time, hope to see you guys there. Until then, peace, deuces, see ya.